You're sitting across from her. Same table, same cafe, same girl. But something feels off. She smiles at you. She asks how your week was. She nods in all the right places. She's kind. She's warm. She's there. And somehow, you still feel shut out. Like you're close enough to touch her, but not close enough to reach her. And in your head, it's the same questions. What changed? Did I do something? Am I overthinking this? Why does it feel like I'm losing her without her actually leaving? Here's the truth most guys miss. You usually don't get friend-zoned in one dramatic moment. You get friend-zoned slowly, quietly, beneath the surface, through 100 tiny shifts in energy, tone, and emotional presence. And that doesn't automatically mean she's cruel. It doesn't automatically mean you're weak. And it definitely doesn't mean you're crazy for feeling the drift. You're not failing at love. You're noticing a change in connection before it becomes a conversation no one wants to have. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 7 signs she may be slowly moving you out of the romantic space and into something safer, flatter, and less intimate. And more importantly, you'll know what that shift actually means. Let's get into it. Most people think attraction disappears because feelings just fade. But the real truth is, attraction usually changes tone long before it changes status. That's the part nobody explains. Your nervous system picks up on distance before your mind can make sense of it. You feel the pause in her voice. You feel the missing warmth in the way she answers. You feel when her presence becomes polite instead of pulled in. Most couples believe the danger sign is conflict, but the real danger is often emotional neutrality. Because when someone is still romantically invested, even if things are messy, there's charge, there's tension, there's longing, there's frustration, there's something alive. But when a woman starts slowly placing you in the safe but not chosen category, the energy often gets softer, flatter, less risky. Not hate, not drama, not even rejection in the obvious sense, just a quiet emotional downgrade. And here's what changes everything. If you don't understand this process, you'll keep responding to it the wrong way. You'll try harder where you should be paying attention. You'll chase clarity where you should be reading patterns. You'll look for one big sign while ignoring 7 small ones that are already telling the story. She still talks to you, but she doesn't really lean into you. Most couples miss this because they think communication means connection. If she's texting back, talking regularly, and keeping the conversation going, most people assume the bond is still strong. But here's the deeper truth. A woman can stay emotionally polite long after she stops feeling romantically pulled toward you. She can still respond without really reaching. She can still engage without opening. And your nervous system feels that difference immediately, even if you keep trying to explain it away. This is where it gets really interesting. When someone wants you romantically, they don't just answer you. They move toward you. There's warmth, curiosity, a little emotional risk. But when she's slowly friend-zoning you, the communication starts sounding efficient, clean, safe, almost coworker-like. The disconnecting version sounds like this. You text, "I've been thinking about you all day." She says, "Aw, that's sweet. Hope work went well." The connecting version sounds like this. You text, "I've been thinking about you all day." She says, "Yeah? About what? Because now I want to know." See the difference? One response keeps the conversation moving. The other pulls you deeper into connection. One is courteous. The other is intimate. One says, "I acknowledge you." The other says, "I want in." And inside her, the unspoken thought may be, "I like him. I just don't feel that pull anymore." That's a very different energy than love becoming deeper. And when you feel that shift clearly, you stop confusing access with closeness. And that alone can save you from chasing something that's already drifting. Her affection becomes friendly, not romantic. Here's the part no one talks about. Sometimes the words stay sweet, while the energy underneath them completely changes. Most people in relationships get fooled by this. They hear, "You're so nice," "You're such a good guy," or "I'm really comfortable with you," and they assume those are green lights. But the real truth is, context matters. Romantic attraction and emotional safety are not the same thing. Safety is essential, yes. But if safety loses all polarity, all tension, all chosen energy, it can start feeling more like sibling warmth than desire. More like appreciation than pull. And bro, this is where a lot of guys get stuck. They keep feeding the version of themselves that is easy to keep around, while ignoring whether she still experiences them as emotionally available and romantically alive. The disconnecting version sounds like this. She says, "You're honestly like my favorite person to talk to. You just get me." That sounds amazing. Until you realize she says it with the exact same tone she'd use for a best friend. No flirtation, no spark, no sense that she's trying to move closer. The connecting version sounds different. "You get me, and that's dangerous because now I want more of your time than I should." Feel that? Same appreciation, different charge. Not compliments, not kindness, not emotional comfort on its own, but mutual romantic energy. That's the thing most people fail to measure. And what may be happening beneath the surface is her mind quietly saying, "He feels safe, but I'm not lighting up anymore." That's not cruelty, it's information. Painful information, but real. And when you learn to hear the difference between being cherished and being casually treasured, the walls between confusion and clarity start to come down. She stops creating opportunities to be alone with you. This one matters more than people realize, because desire makes room, even in busy lives, even in stressful seasons, even in imperfect timing. Most couples blame schedules, and yes, life is real, work is real, family is real, exhaustion is real. But when someone still feels that pull toward you, they look for moments. They protect little pockets of presence. They want some version of us that isn't available to everybody else. But here's what nobody explains. When a woman is slowly friend-zoning you, group settings start replacing private intimacy. She's happy to see you with other people around. She doesn't mind hanging out if it's casual, public, easy. But the energy shifts when closeness would require emotional exclusivity. The disconnecting version looks like this. She says, "You should come out with us tonight." Or, "A bunch of us are grabbing dinner, you should join." The connecting version sounds like this. "Can I steal you for a bit this week? I want time with just you." That sentence changes everything, because private time is where intimacy either grows or gets exposed. And if she keeps you in community, but avoids you in closeness, her nervous system may be trying to enjoy your presence without deepening the bond. Inside, the unspoken thought is often, "I like being around him. I just don't want it to feel too relationship-like." That's a massive sign, man. Emotional distance isn't always a slammed door. Sometimes, it's a couch pulled back by 2 inches every week until one day you realize you're not sitting together anymore. And when you start noticing who invites you into privacy versus who keeps you safely in the crowd, you stop mistaking convenience for connection. You get more updates about her life than access to her heart. Most people think intimacy means being included, but being informed and being emotionally invited are not the same thing. She can tell you everything she did today, who annoyed her at work, what her friends said, what show she started, what she's doing this weekend, and still not actually let you into what she feels beneath the surface. That's where most couples get it wrong. They mistake volume for vulnerability. They confuse constant talking with real emotional presence. But real connection has texture. It has pauses, risk, tenderness, a little uncertainty. It sounds like someone letting you into the room behind the room. Not just the facts, but the feelings beneath the facts. The disconnecting version sounds like this. "My day was crazy, meetings all day. Then I went to the gym. Then my mom called. I'm tired." The connecting version sounds like this. "My day was crazy, and I don't even think I'm tired from work. I think I'm tired from pretending I'm okay. Can I be honest with you about something?" That's the shift. One keeps you updated, the other lets you hold something real. And here's what changes everything. When she friend-zones you emotionally, you may still be in the loop. You just stop being the place she lands. She tells you what happened, but not what it meant to her. She shares her schedule, but not her softness. Her inner world may be saying, "He's easy to talk to, but he's not where I go to be deeply seen anymore." That sentence hurts, but if you've lived it, you know how true it feels. And when you finally understand that intimacy is not information but access, you stop settling for breadcrumbs that only look like closeness from a distance. She responds warmly to your effort, but she rarely reciprocates it. This is one of the clearest signs, because appreciation can keep a connection alive long after investment has gone uneven. Most couples normalize this imbalance. One person initiates more, one person plans more, one person checks in more, one person carries the emotional labor of the bond. And because there's no huge fight, nobody calls it what it is. But the deeper truth is simple. Mutuality is one of the purest forms of attraction. When someone values the connection in a romantic way, they don't just receive energy, they return it. Not perfectly, not mechanically, but naturally, because desire turns toward. The disconnecting version looks like this. You plan the date, you send the thoughtful message, you remember the detail she mentioned 3 weeks ago. She says, "That's so sweet, you're amazing." And then, nothing comes back. No follow-up, no initiative, no sense that she's also becoming toward you. The connecting version feels like this. You plan something thoughtful, and later she texts, "I've been thinking about how good tonight felt. I want to do something for you next time." That's not a trick. That's not game playing. That's not you earning love through effort. That's reciprocity. Real, adult, emotionally available reciprocity. And if what's moving through her is, "I love how he treats me, but I don't feel compelled to meet him there," then you're not building a relationship. You're sustaining a one-sided emotional economy. Honestly, that's exhausting. And over time, it makes you feel less like a chosen partner and more like a dependable service provider. And when reciprocity finally enters the room, the relationship stops feeling like performance and starts feeling like two people carrying something real together. She starts using language that softens you into a safe category. Here's the part most guys ignore because it sounds harmless. The words she chooses begin to subtly reposition you. Most people in relationships only listen for obvious rejection. They wait for, "I'm not ready," "I just want to be friends," or "I don't see you that way." But long before those sentences arrive, the tone often changes, the labels change, the emotional framing changes. You become such a good friend. You're literally the best. You're like family. I just feel so safe with you. Now listen carefully. Those phrases are not bad in themselves. In a healthy romantic bond, safety is gold. Friendship is essential. But when those phrases show up without flirtation, without desire, without tension, without any signal of turning toward romance, they can become a soft landing strip for a relationship that is emotionally flattening out. The disconnecting version sounds like this. "You're honestly like a brother to me. You always show up." That one lands in your chest for a reason, because your body knows what your mind doesn't want to admit. The connecting version sounds different. "I feel safe with you, and that makes me want to get even closer." That's the difference between comfort as closure and comfort as deepening. And this is where it gets really interesting. Language is not just language. It reveals category. It reveals how her nervous system has started organizing you. Are you the person she longs for, wonders about, reaches for? Or are you becoming the person she trusts without feeling drawn toward? Her inner monologue may be, "He's so important to me, just not in the way he wants." And if you've heard that energy before, you know how quietly brutal it can be. And when you start hearing not just what she says, but what emotional category her words place you in, you begin to see the relationship as it is, not as you keep hoping it still might become. You feel like you have to keep proving why you matter. This is the one most couples never figure out, because the final sign is not just something she does, it's what starts happening inside you. You overthink everything. You reread messages. You feel relief when she's warm and anxiety when she's neutral. You start performing instead of relating. Most people call this insecurity, but the deeper truth is, your nervous system is responding to inconsistency in closeness. When connection stops feeling mutual, you start trying to earn what used to feel natural. And that usually means the relationship has already shifted beneath the surface. Not more effort, not better timing, not one perfect text that finally makes her see you. What you actually need is to tell the truth about the pattern. Because when you feel chosen, you settle, you soften, you become more real. You don't live in constant audition mode. The disconnecting version sounds like this in your own head. If I just say it better, if I just give her more space, if I just become a little more interesting, a little less needy, a little more whatever she needs. The connecting version feels completely different. I don't have to manage every moment. I can just show up honestly, and she meets me there. That is what real romantic safety does. It doesn't leave you guessing all the time. It doesn't make you hustle for basic clarity. It doesn't keep you trapped in cycles of hope and withdrawal. And here's what nobody explains. This isn't a communication hack. This is just what emotionally mature connection feels like. You don't become smaller to keep it. You don't become shinier to secure it. You become more real, and the right bond gets stronger there. So if you've been feeling that ache, that subtle emotional demotion, that sense that she likes you but isn't really choosing you, don't gaslight yourself. Pay attention. Patterns tell the truth long before words do. And that doesn't mean you panic. It doesn't mean you chase. It doesn't mean you turn cold. It means you get honest. With her, yes, but first with yourself. Because this isn't a checklist for becoming more desirable. It's an invitation to become more clear, more grounded, more self-respecting in love. And when you internalize that, you stop begging to be chosen by someone who is no longer truly turning toward you. You start becoming the kind of man who can face reality without abandoning himself. That's the real shift. You stop confusing mixed signals with deep connection. You stop calling emotional leftovers love. You stop trying to build a future with someone who only knows how to keep you close in a way that costs you your peace. If this hit you, really hit you, then you already know this video wasn't just about her. It was about the part of you that keeps hoping effort can override truth. And man, that part deserves compassion too. Because real love doesn't leave you in permanent confusion. Real connection may be imperfect, messy, and deeply human, but it still moves toward you. It still makes room. It still feels alive. Love isn't proven by how long you can tolerate the drift. It's proven by whether two people are still choosing to cross it.